So welcome to another video of this wonderful series of human anatomy and physiology. Today we will focus on the digestive system. So why is the digestive system so important? Well, food is broken down by the digestive system to give energy to every cell in our bodies. And this allows for cell growth and repair in other processes. Our digestive system converts our foods we eat into their simplest forms, like glucose or sugars, amino acids, or fatty acids, which are your fats. Your foods will be broken down and be processed as they pass through the digestive system. And these biomolecules obtained will be absorbed into your bloodstream in the small intestine. Now here we have a diagram which I just drew, and it highlights all the main points or main parts of the digestive system. Your digestion begins with your mouth, where you have your saliva containing enzymes that will begin to break down carbohydrates into sugars, and also eases the swallowing process by moistening the food. These saliva are produced by the three major salivary glands, which are parotid, submandibular, and sublingual, which each produce different types of saliva. The food is further processed by your teeth, which will grind up your food for this same reason. And this process that they do, this teeth, is called mastication, which is a mechanical process. That's basically when you chew your food. The upper esophageal sphincter, or UES, which is its function, is basically to prevent food and liquids from entering into your airway during actions like swallowing, and also prevents air from entering your digestive tract. And this ensures substances go into the correct pathways. Now, furthermore, it allows for bolus, which is your ground up food, through into the digestive tract and closes to prevent any reflux of digestive content back onto the trachea, which is your respiratory tract. And you will see it's drawn in blue in this diagram. After swallowing, the bolus moves down the esophagus by muscle contractions into the stomach. Now the stomach is a J-shaped organ, which is drawn in here in purple, and is connected to at one end to the esophagus and the other end to the small intestine. Its role is to carry or store food during meals. It is composed of parietal cells in glands, and these secrete strong hydrochloric acid and that help break down food in the stomach. Now we got pepsinogen enzymes, which are also released, and these basically contribute to protein digestion. This will convert your bolus into another substance which we call chyme. And this is basically described as a semi-liquid mixture of partially digested food and stomach secretions. The stomach inner lining is also protected from acid by mucus lining, which prevents the highly acidic digestive juices and enzymes from damaging the stomach itself. So you might wonder, if the stomach is so acidic and bolus passes through it, doesn't it become acidic and damage the other parts of the digestive system if they pass further on? Well, actually, once the food enters the duodenum, the acidity of the stomach will be neutralized by the alkaline substances coming from the pancreas and the duodenum, and this is bile. And this prepares this chyme for the next processes which are happening down the digestive tract. The bile is not made in the duodenum. It's actually made in the liver, which then will be stored in the gallbladder, and this will then be passed on to the duodenum to be released. Now, this is also because the stomach acid primarily breaks down proteins, but once the chyme has passed through the stomach, bile will help to emulsify the fats, which makes them easier to be absorbed and digested. So now you might wonder, what does emulsifying mean? Well, emulsifying means breaking down large fat globules into smaller droplets, and this provides enzymes like lipase a much larger surface area to work on. And this leads to faster, more efficient fat digestion. Now, the small intestine is the real protagonist of this digestive system. So why? Well, the small intestine is where most of our digestion and absorption will occur. The bile from the liver and the gallbladder, alongside the enzymes from the pancreas, will mix with the chyme in the small intestine. These will further break down the food into smaller components, The carbohydrates will be converted into smaller sugars, the proteins will be converted into amino acids, and the fats will be broken down into your acids and glycerol. Furthermore, its internal surface is covered with villi and microvilli, which will massively increase the surface area of the small intestine, contributing to the rapid and efficient nutrient absorption. Also to note, most of the water will be absorbed here too, in the small intestine, although the large intestine will reabsorb some of the water too. So you might be wondering, if the water is absorbed in the small intestine, why does the large intestine have to reabsorb the water? Well, the job of the large intestine is more like a water recycler. We want the body to be as efficient as possible, so despite having absorbed most of the water from the chyme in the small intestine, there will be some remaining water that hasn't been absorbed. And that's the job of the large intestine, to remove much of this leftover water. So this will eventually turn the chyme into what we know as solid feces. Without the reabsorption of water from the large intestine, we would have things like your chronic diarrhea and dehydration. Now, notice how you have the internal and external sphincters around the anus and the rectum in the diagram. So what are their functions? Well, once the feces pass through the large intestine, they will be absorbed in the rectum, waiting to be disposed of. The internal sphincter is an involuntary muscle and is partially contracted automatically to prevent feces from escaping and keeping the anus closed. On the other hand, we have the external anal sphincter, and this is a voluntary muscle that will allow you to control when to go to the toilet. And that completes the journey of food through the digestive system. From chewing in the mouth to mixing with stomach acids, nutrient absorption in the small intestine, water recovery in the large intestine, and finally, the controlled elimination of waste. Each organ plays a unique role to turn what we eat into energy and keep our bodies healthy. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about the digestive system. So my name is Primit Pursuit, and thanks for pursuing a wandering route. See you next time.